Good to go. So once I find you on here, did you see my stuff? There we go. So hello, everybody. What's going on? It's us again. You need to turn your sound off on something, Rakan. Perfect. Okay. So hi, how are you?
Hello. What's up,
Hi.
y'all? So wait, are we looking here or we're looking here? I'm a little confused.
I don't know. I guess we look everywhere. Like it's like the little
Okay.
magic of
My
it's the
friends.
magic of my setup. My setup looks like I'm looking everywhere. So
Oh well,
we'll
my
get you
friend.
on this
But
Jessie
I'm
Lee
not.
game.
I'm definitely not a Jessie Lee, but okay.
It's okay. You're so close. It's scary. So anyway, what's going on, everyone? This is Rakan Khalifa. He is one of the top networkers in the world right now, and I figured I would bring him on, and we would have a conversation that's going to, of course, be on the podcast, going to be everywhere, and I want to know a little bit more about your journey. I want to know more about what you're doing in network marketing. I want to know all of the things and all the secrets. So I have a bunch of questions for you, but first, why don't you introduce yourself and let the people know who you are?
What's up, everybody? I think you guys can hear me on Instagram. Can they hear me on Instagram?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah. So I hope everybody's well. My name is Rakan K, and journey. And I've been involved in network marketing for like 4.5 years now. And I remember, when I first got started. First of all, it was a different game back then. Definitely a different game back then. But I know like I've wanted more out of life. I've always been the kid that dreams a lot, talk about my dreams, but I felt like I've always had this negative circle where I couldn't talk about my dreams around my circle, so I've always kept them into myself, and I've always spoke to myself. So I started 4.5 years ago. I used to be like I've worked a lot of jobs when I first came to Canada, and one of them was one of the last ones that I worked at was a club. I used to be a busboy at a club. I remember it like it was yesterday when one of my upline currently, he was partying, and I came in. And I'm like, listen, man, I gotta do I gotta do what you do, cause damn, and that's 4.5 years ago.
So something you already said I want to touch on because I think a lot of people don't think about it. And you mentioned your circle. So you don't have to go into detail, obviously, of the people that used to be in your circle. But if you want to talk about a little bit on how elevating your circle has changed your entire life, maybe some of the things that you've done in order to have that. And, I don't know, you can brag a little bit about your success too. I know how successful you are. I'm so freaking proud of you. I think you're incredible for a lot of different reasons. Of course, your success in network marketing is awesome, but your success outside of it, and then you're just a really good human. And I think some people can lose that pretty easily.
Yeah.
I'd love to know kind of what your journey has been with that, because obviously the quote is, you become like the 5 people you spend the most of your time with, and I don't think people understand how much it affects them. So if you want to kind of chat on that, I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, with all due respect to the people that I used to be hanging around with, I'm pretty sure sometimes they watch, sometimes they don't. But the hardest thing I think in life is people that are always stuck in their like own little bubble, right? So they're always looking under their feet. And when I realized that a lot of these people are just looking to what they're doing, so I want to work from this time to this time, and nobody bothered me after that. I've always had a different approach, even at my actual job. And yesterday somebody asked me, he's like, Rakan, what if you didn't do network marketing, what would you do? And I said sales. I truly believe sales was what inspired me to do more, because in sales it's a never-ending game. The more you learn, the more you earn. But then I found another part of sales, which is network marketing. Network marketing, you're able to do some selling and then create a team that can create a selling for you, and you can develop some leadership skills along the way, and you can make an income out of it. So that's kind of what I truly believe. You said it completely right. The 5 people that you chill around with the most is what they'll be able to push you further. Majority of my career, I was always hanging out with people that made maybe less money than me, or I've had most talents than them, and I've always a lot of people can relate to this. I was like intimidated to be around successful people, because I thought they were a-holes, or they're gonna reject me because I'm obvious I make less money than them. And I noticed when I started chilling down with actually wealthy people, they had the exact same opposites, because they wanted to learn from me, right? Because I was the younger. They wanted to see what social media is all about, and I noticed that wealthy people think very different than the poor people. So that's why I started changing my circle. right? I started becoming friends. And I started becoming friends, by the way, with people that I can serve. Right. So let's say I have a friend, or not a friend. I know a guy that it's, a multimillionaire and has this businesses and. Well, I got to think, how can I serve this person? And if I know how can I serve this person in front of me and not charge anything, because I see people like, oh, they're always like asking all those, what's in it for me? Well, in the beginning, what's in it for you is you're going to be in their circle. So you're technically lowering their average. So you may get their money. You may even like damage them more than anybody else. But so what for me is how can I help this person in anything so I can get close to them and I can just maybe get the pieces and parts and I can grow from that.
So there's like so much in that. So I want to start there and kind of reverse some stuff, because I was just with your sister last night and some of your GC team here in Dallas, and they're so cute. I love them all. And I actually said something you said, because this is a story you definitely don't know about me, but which is kind of saying a lot, because I feel like you know a lot. But I had that same problem where I needed to get around successful people, because I realized that successful people, they walk differently, they talk differently, they move differently, Absolutely. They behave differently, they're more structured, they're more scheduled, they're less distracted. There's just so many differences between successful people and then people who are constantly struggling. Their mindset's different, their consistency's different. It's just like on and on and on. And they said something about like, who was your first mentor? I said, I don't know if she was like a mentor, but she was number one in my first company. And she had an abundance of money. I had a lack of money. She had a lack of time. I had an abundance of time. And so I would spend my extra time. I would carpool my way over to her house, which was over an hour away. I would figure out a way to get there. And then all I did was I served her. So, that sounds crazy. I said, I don't know if the right word is like servant, but literally I was like her little servant. I would pack her trials for her we didn't do trials. I'd pack her orders for her. I would stamp her stuff. I would put the labels on whatever. I would manage her calendar for her because I needed to get around her. I would listen to her on phone calls and how she was like the way that she would interview people compared to how I was talking to people on the phone. And it was completely different. I was terrible. She was amazing. I watched the way I saw the way she, spoke to the mailman. I saw the way her inventory was. And all I did was I served her until I started learning all these skills from her. I don't know if this makes sense to anybody, but I was learning all these different skills from her. And then I started recruiting like her. Yeah. And I was recruiting like her because of the proximity. So she ended up, of course, it ended up being where I had given her so much value in my time and doing the stuff that she didn't want to do, that it was able to elevate me because I was learning the skill sets, because I could not afford anything else. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, if you know what your mentor is and they can be around you, like 100%. Like I just gave. So I have so you said you were always different. I want to know what that means. Like, talk to me about that. You said because I relate, but I want to know, like, if you were always different, like, kind of give me what you mean by that. And if anyone relates, like, you can like holler at us in the comments because we can see them. But I'm curious, like, what does that mean?
I've always thought of maybe, let's say if there's two people, right? And these two people, and then it's me. So these two people are looking at something and it's really straight. I'm looking at it from sideways. So I've been like, even with how I like, let's just naturally right now talk about it. I'm an Arab guy that dyed his hair yellow. That's very outside of my culture. Like they look at me in a very weird way. So I just thought of things different. And I've always, by the way, just so you know, I was always against entrepreneurship. Against it, because my dad was an entrepreneur, and I've seen my dad do this. There's 1 month he has money, 1 month broke. 1 month has money, 1 month broke. 3 months we live the best life. We travel all over the world. We have maids and drivers, and 3 months we didn't even have a car at the house. And I just hated the ups and downs. And I've noticed that a lot of my friends, their dad has jobs, and they just had this in life, right? By them growing, they just have bigger stuff. And then when I first came to Canada, I actually confronted my dad. That I told him I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be an entrepreneur, but your life was stressful. I just want to have a job and I want to relax. And I used to work in, one of the biggest gyms here in Canada. And, I had my manager that I kind of have a very similar story where he was like, this guy can sell water to fish, swear to God. So I was very close to him, right? And I was seeing what he does. And he was like, it's a gym. It's like he was like doing the towel like this, showing people the towel and showing the experience. He was selling the experience at the gym. And it was a gym. Like there's nothing crazy about the gym that we have. It's just a bunch of weights. But he just knew how to sell the gym. Anyway, so My point is that when I started working for him, he started elevating what my thinking was, right? So Rakan, learn how to do this, and I was very against. Here's what my problem was: I was very against somebody giving me feedback, and I've always felt negative when it comes to feedback, and I've never kind of shifted that mindset into, well, yes, it's a negative thing that he's telling me, but I can turn it into a positive thing. Because once I turn that negative into a positive thing, I know that if I apply it, it can potentially change my life. And that's what happens. I started becoming really good at sales. I started really selling at a higher level, very similar to what he does. And I start having some big success in the gym. But I noticed that no matter how much I sell, there's still a cap. And he was the one that was telling me, you should start investing. You should start putting up your money. You should start, putting money away. You should not be spending money like all. And we had other people that used to work with us. He's like, well, look at these, people. They're investing. They're wasting their money at the club. They're wasting their money at the bars. They're wasting their money on the stupid stuff. But you can actually take that money and you can invest. And he was, telling me about stocks and stuff. And that's kind of how I got involved in the financial markets in general. So I agree, number one, with having somebody that you can be close to. And number two, just thinking a little bit different rather than everybody. Everybody in the world, almost 97% of people on earth, they think after finishing school, that's it. I'm done. And I was never a school person. I've hated books my entire life. I'm not good. I'm just not good at reading a book. And I hated it 12 years. And the problem is my younger sister she was school smart. So my parents, well, look at your younger sister. Look, she's smart. Why can't you figure this out? And for me to come to, because I didn't want to get stuck in Saudi, I wanted to come to Canada. For me to come to Canada, I had to get like an 80 something on my report card, and I had to figure this out. It's either I pay somebody, I cheat. I had to learn.
Did you cheat? Don't lie. Did you?
100%. I'm the best cheater. I created systems. Oh, listen to this. I created systems in high school to cheat. I was the best guy. That's how I made fortune in high school. Anyway, don't judge me for who I was. Please judge me for who I am right now. So once I noticed that whatever I'm learning, I'm consuming and I'm applying it, and it's changing my life and giving me progress, I got addicted. Similar to the gym. You work out once, twice, 3 times, you're seeing the bicep come out. I was like, ooh, I'm getting, I'm going to go to the beach. But it's the same thing with books. I noticed that I'm reading a book and applying it, and it was effectively changing my life. So every problem that I've had in my life, there is a book out there that I took. I'm like, okay, well, the solution is here. Maybe not here. And then another book, and another book, and another book, and another video. And this is how I think me just wired different than everybody else.
Okay, I was just wondering. I agree. I think most people are very comfortable with the idea of being average. And as much as I can't be thrilled that you cheated, I'm sure that we all have, right? But it's almost kind of that mentality of whatever it takes to get yourself out of a situation. So I love that. And I think obviously knowledge is power when it's applied. And so whenever your applied knowledge is from the books, I think is obviously really powerful. So you mentioned sales, which I love, of course. A similar thing. I knew that I would end up in sales in some capacity, because I felt like you could actually control your life through sales. And so, and for me, it's like the capped salaries of jobs, like you mentioned the gym, and then, similar, obviously anywhere else. And even in jobs that are sales jobs, you can only work so many hours. You can only do so much stuff before they're like, you can't work anymore. Like you have to do whatever. So, what attracted you though to the network marketing model? Because you were doing 4.5 years, you were selling well in the gym. You were doing you weren't broke in the gym anymore. Right. And like my story is kind of similar, right? Where I was in sales, whether it's waiting tables and I'm upselling, or I was selling massage chairs and I'm upselling or whatever. I know why I obviously made the step into network marketing, even from direct sales after doing all of that. But I'm just curious, like what made you, I know you just had a personality that was open, but what was the catalyst? What made you say, okay, I'm a businessman. I can see that this is actually a better way, even when it's probably not that popular of a business model in, your family background, or I don't know how popular network marketing is in Saudi, or even.
Well, it's illegal in Saudi, so.
Oh, perfect. So maybe that's why you were attracted to. I'm just kidding.
Maybe, I don't know. I like illegal stuff. Anyway, no, I believe I know the answer.
Okay.
And I was talking to one of my leaders the other day, and he just had like one of these moments, and he's like, "Bro, what do you think we do for a living?" And I told him, "I think we sell hope." A lot of the times at my job, I felt hopeless, and the reason why I felt hopeless is that was it. That was it. Like it's from that a management position to like a VP position, and that's it. And you don't control. You're not in control. Maybe I have a control personality, but I never had control of my life. And maybe it's a part of me being lazy that I've always like, when the idea of when I've done a lot of research about network marketing, because we've had companies in the Middle East that they're still lasting to this day. It's crazy, right? Although it's a lot of the parts, it's not even okay to be doing some stuff. But you know what happened? I had one day I was sitting down. Okay, so I used to be a customer for this company, correct? So This is the funniest story. I used to be a customer for this company, and I liked what their product is, and I was learning, I was growing. And one time my upline calls me and she's like, or my enroller, she calls me and she's like, "Oh, we have an educational seminar in this place. I think you should come." I'm like, you know what? I'm free that day anyway. Let me just listen to what they're gonna say. And that day, I sat down right at the front. I sat down like this, right? You can tell I'm very close to the information. And I remember, my current upline, he was talking about freedom. And I noticed that he's free. And when I'm talking about freedom, I wasn't talking about financial freedom. I was talking about personality-wise. He was free. He was free from inside, so that made him be free outside. And I just got inspired to that. And he gave me hope that possibly there's a different life. Because the majority of people that I used to be chilling with, especially from university, they somewhat had an idea of what they wanted to do. Some people wanted to be a doctor, an engineer, and all these things. And I was supportive. I was cool with it. I just never knew what I really wanted to do. So, and I don't believe anything happens by accident. Everything happens for you, not to you. So I know that I was supposed to hear that sentence when he said, "I'm free." And I was supposed to interpret it in a way where, I want to be free as well. So I feel like that was the main push for me to really hump on the network marketing train.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's really powerful because everyone, like there's hundreds, like I don't know, whatever. There's like 500 people watching this right now on all the different platforms, and who knows, like the podcast is huge, obviously. Like, and with all of those different souls listening to this, everybody's getting something different out of it. Right? There's always some kind of different takeaway. And, obviously we just had this event this last weekend. I know you obviously came. Thank you. By the way, appreciate you. And then I was at your event the weekend before. And it's like what people pull out of different conversations. Like you heard freedom because that's what you needed. Like something inside your soul needed that. And so I love that. The freedom, whether that's, I don't know what freedom exactly is for you or anybody listening to this, but like for me, network marketing, it was always the time freedom. It was always the idea of time freedom, which by the way, anyone listening, like you don't have time freedom for a long time.
Sure.
Right. At this point, yeah. Like if I, quite frankly, if Rakan didn't want to work and if I didn't want to work, we don't have to work anymore. We could live off residuals. It's just not in either of our personalities. But the time freedom it's a lot of not time freedom before you get time freedom. Financial freedom, it's a lot of not financial freedom before you get financial freedom. The destination freedom is one of my favorite for sure. I love to travel. I know you love to travel, see the world, etc. But whatever free is for you, I think a lot, like if there's any assignment already out of this, it's people need to define what that is for them and then start reverse engineering what they need to do inside of their businesses in order to actually achieve that freedom. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned at the beginning of this, or maybe, no, that wasn't this. It's because I was listening to your call earlier. Like your mom, you got her a Mercedes and she's making this money and she's doing all these different things. I think sometimes we forget that the freedom can also be for the people you love. Same thing. My dad's house is paid off. My dad, like I bought him a car. I did, same kind of thing. And for me, that's a level of peace that I don't know a lot of people that can actually ever experience that. And so when people are like, "Oh, network marketing, la, 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 la," it's like, I just wish you understood the ability to give freedom to people you love is a whole other level. It's a whole other level.
Priceless.
It's priceless. Yes. Okay. So I want you to tell the story because you started mentioning, you mentioned basically investing your time and your money into, developing into the man that you are now. It's like my favorite story of us. So, well, I don't know, maybe not my favorite story of us, but it's one of my favorite stories of us. I want to hear the story of when you were going to go to GoPro and it was like all falling apart, and you know exactly what story I want you to tell. So you have to tell it. It is so good. It's like my favorite.
Well, here's what happened.
Yeah, tell us the tale. You got to be really dramatic about it, Dramatic. Give us the drama.
I will try as much as I can. So here's what happened. 2019 was my first 6-figure year, right? So after not having any success in network marketing for a while, 6 months I went to 6 figures, and I was maintaining that rank that entire year. So every month I was making anywhere from like $10,000 to $12,000 a month, and I was super excited. And then, so I'll never forget that day. I hit it on January 31st, 2019, and I sustained it up until end of October, November. Now, November, something happened, right? We had, the company decided to make some changes, a lot of changes, and I've had almost 800 people on my team. 700 were gone the first week. So now I'm back to 100 people, majority are customers, and the rest don't even believe. And I've had key leaders, like I would say 6 people, 5 to 6 people that were still all in. They're not having success, and all their teams have left. So even if they had success, they no longer have success. And prior to that, Eric had a video, and I've never been to GoPro, and it was my dream to go to GoPro. So I said, finally, this is my year. I have, I'm making 6 figures. I gotta go to GoPro, and I gotta get inspired. I gotta see. I gotta chill with the greats. And at that point, I was, watching you on social media as well, and YouTube. And Eric was talking about you should invest in your leaders and you should buy 10 tickets. And I believe the 10 tickets was or 8 tickets was $10,000.
Yeah.
Right. But I made 10 grand. So I took a whole month check. Yeah. As it is, and I paid Eric to have 8 tickets or 9, whatever tickets, to actually have my people attend GoPro. And I told my team, this is looking June-ish. Or July. I told my team, listen, I bought this ticket. I invested in the team, and the best, 8 leaders that we have, we're gonna take them to Las Vegas, and they're gonna be there. And then. So the problem is the top 8 performing leaders left. So I have 8 tickets, and even if the 6 people that I had, that had belief in me, don't even have the money to come to Vegas, right? So I wasn't even gonna entertain the subject. So guess what happened? Here's what happened. What happened is I called Eric's office. I'm like, hello, friend, I need a refund because I can't afford this. I actually cannot afford this. Like I went back from making $10,000 a month to $200 a week. I'm like stressed. I have a Maserati that I need to pay for, a house that I need to pay for, a family to take care of. I need to figure this out. So he's like, he answers like, can I get your ticket number? And he puts on ticket. He's like, yeah, we can't give you a refund. There's like 3 weeks left for the event. There's no refunds. And I'm like, bro, my team left.
Eric never gives refunds ever.
I'm like,
ever.
My team left. Who do you want me to give the tickets to? He's like, your best bet is to switch that ticket into a super VIP ticket, which you're able to be, having a super sitting all the way at the front and meeting all the speakers. I'm like, well, I have no choice anyway, so we might as well do that. You know what I mean? I didn't have proper money management that year, so I spent a lot of money that I've made. I've had a couple $1,000s in my bank account, but the one thing that happened to me is that my backbone was straight. You can never tell that I don't make money. So we're sitting down. I remember Eric was like, who makes $100,000 a year? Stand up. And I had to stand up because shit, I'm mama raised no. Anyway, so I stand up, and I think right after that I see Jessie Lee go on stage, and I've seen Jessie Lee, of course, way before that. And on social media, I don't really know her like that, but I watched it, and I made sure I introduced myself to a lot of speakers because I needed them to know who I was. A majority of them didn't even say hi to me, but it's fine, it's okay. But Jessie Lee did say hi to me, right? And I'm like, oh, well, somebody noticed me finally, right? I don't know if this is her personality or she's just, whatever. Anyway, so at that point, I sat down. We went to Eric's house, and this is like the lowest point of my career. Like, this is where nothing is working. But my team is gone. I don't know if I'm gonna last. And everybody else was saying he's done. He's done. And sometimes these negative thoughts, no matter how strong you are, sometimes they get into your head.
Yeah.
So they said too much that I was done, that I had to really make a decision. So I remember I sat down with Eric that day, and I heard them expanding internationally, and that's how the idea of launching the Middle East came in. Anyway, that would be a long story, but this is pretty much how I met Jessie Lee. This is my first interaction. This is my first hi to Jessie Lee.
Well, I'm glad that I was nice. I think I'm pretty much nice to everybody, but I'm glad I said hello to you. It's turned out well.
Yeah.
So what do you do though when someone says you're done? Like, because this is a winner's mentality, and I know you have a winner's mentality. We've talked about this a million times, like just one-on-one with our own time together. Because for me, I mean, I know you know this, but there's been so many times people have said all kinds of crazy stuff about me, and I will go into like anger mode and create new ranks and go nuts. And then that's not the healthiest place to come from in your business, for sure. You can't maintain a place of anger, but where does your mentality go? Like, cause you're clearly somebody who, I swear I've said this to you, but just in case I haven't, I just want to say it to you publicly. Like, I don't think you'll ever lose. You have that thing about you where it really doesn't matter what knocks you down, you're going to get back up again. And it's so uncommon. So many people let other people's opinions and perceptions and beliefs about them change their entire trajectory of their life instead of creating their own life. And you don't do that. You're very sure of where you're going. And it's not that you don't have setbacks. I know you do, but what did that do for you when all these people were like, oh, he's done, the team left, the company changed, this. Like, where does your head go when something like that happens?
I can't lie, I did go into a dark mode. But I had to wake up quick. Like, I went to a dark mode for like 48 hours. Right. And then I had to just snap back at it and really think, well, I agree. Coming from a place of anger, you can't sustain that, but sometimes you got to let that fuel you a little bit.
Yep.
So I kind of used it just a little bit in the beginning to take the plane off the ground. And then, of course, operating from a place of love is what sustained or grew or 10x what I had at that point. But I feel like when I'm going to give you a story, there's a lot of you guys know I love history, and, the Ottoman Empire, Mehmed II, since he was a child, he kept telling his dad and grandfather that I'm going to be the person that's going to open Constantinople. And he kept saying, I'm going to open Constantinople. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the guy. And what happened is his grandfather tried, didn't work. His dad tried, didn't work. And he grew, and he wasn't older. He was like 22, 23 years old. And he was very inspired by Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great took majority of the world at the age of 19. Mehmed II, what he did is, he had a different war strategy to open Constantinople. He came with a new idea. He came with these big, I don't know what they call it, these big machines that they're breaking down walls. Forgot what they're called. But he came with a very different mentality, and he invested a lot into that. And he believed that was the weapon that's gonna destroy the roof under Constantinople, and they're gonna give up, and we're gonna take over Constantinople. And here's what happened. So he gets there, and it looks that they're winning, right? But they're firing and firing and firing. And at one point, these walls were coming down. It just wasn't as effective anymore. And his engineers are telling him, you should stop. You should take some time. You should not take, and you should really relax. And that's exactly what happened. He kept going and kept going. Him and some of his big leaders at that point, they were sitting not near, but close to the biggest machine that they had. And the engineer was working on it. And he kept telling Mehmed II, it's going to blow. It's going to blow. You should stop. And he's like, at it again. And at one point, it blows. And everybody around the machine dies. Everybody, including the engineers. And he gets hurt really bad. Him and his leaders, right? His generals. So they take him back to the tent, and that's at this point. the people that the people that used to live in Constantinople, the British at that point, and a couple other than the British, they like, okay, well, this is we can attack now, because they see that they got damaged, and they attacked, and they actually started losing. So now the Ottomans they were winning the war for so long, now they're losing.
Right.
Mehmed II woke up, he did some praying, right? And here's what happened. It's funny, all his generals were against it. It's like, bro, let's just withdraw. Let's just go home. We can come back stronger. We can just recoup. And he said, no matter what I do, right? I would rather die right here than go back. Right? I would rather die with that hope I would rather die with hope than live without it. And this is kind of one of his famous sayings. And he just went at it again and again and again, and eventually, he opened the Constantinople, which is, Istanbul right now, or in Turkey. And, the Ottoman Empire lasted for years after that. But it just takes that person that just, again, until it happens, and it happens.
Well, that gave me chills. I mean, I know the story, and yeah, that's you. Yeah, again. So I had to follow up on that. So not in our funny way that we joke around, but you said people told him you should relax.
Yeah.
And so I want to know.
Yeah.
What is I know you get it.
Yeah.
I know people tell you are a crazy man. Yeah. I know people tell you are out of control. I know people tell you, you know what, like, you're already successful. Can you chill out with the needing to open restaurants and needing to invest and needing to travel and needing to build bigger business? And you like when are you like chill out? Like, when are you going to relax? And I just want to know, because you know this. And again, I just want to say it publicly. I've only said it on one stage. I don't know that many network marketers. I know 2 network marketers that are at the top of their game that are working like they are broke. And one is Jessie Lee Ward and one is Rakan Khalifa. And so I want to know, because I know my personality, but I want to know, can you tell people, what is that about you? Why are you still doing what you're doing? Why are you still pushing the way you're pushing? What do you feel like saying, even though you might not say it? I know sometimes you're a yeller, so I don't know what you're going to say right now. But when somebody's like, chill out, relax, take a vacation, la, 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 la.
Yeah, I think I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
You see, I've always been inspired to do more, and I think my biggest fear in life is to be normal. My biggest fear in life is to even be perceived as, oh, it's just Rakan. He's just here. And maybe that's a little bit of ego, a mix with want to inspire people, with want to change people's lives, with it's a mix of a lot of things. But I think one of my biggest driving forces is I can't stand somebody being normal, and I'm just always on my A game. I want to be always on my A game. Although, listen, we have ups and downs of our own, but I want to be able to be on my A game. I love the underdog story. Love the underdog story. I've always been an underdog in our industry. Companies wise, I've always had, in our space, other companies that are bigger than us, but I've always it's me that's changing the ship. It's me that's doing this. And not only that, you see, my younger sister, for me, when one of my major clicks in life or major shifts in life was when my sister started making some crazy income. Now, we can't talk about incomes here, but I'll tell you something. She has changed life dramatically quick.
Yes.
And this is not somebody that I met. This is my own. I've known her my entire life. Right? So, for me to not only change people around me, but my own sister's life, it is just that keeps me going. Now I have 2 younger siblings that they will be at their top game, but then as well I have friends and family that rely on me, that I can't let them down. And for me, if I'm not growing, I'm dying. So I just feel network marketing is the perfect vehicle for that, and this is where I can fulfill what my desires is for not to be normal.
Yeah. I hope everyone wrote that down. Your biggest fear in life is to be normal.
Yeah.
Because I always talk about how when people are like, oh, at least I'm average. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
think you understand what average is.
Yeah.
Average is literally taking the 1% and then averaging them with a whole bunch of people who do nothing in order to get, the 70% or whatever else it is. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me either, why you would want to chase that. And then I want to touch on the whole idea of always wanting more, because again, we had this conversation when I was in Canada last week where I'm like, you are literally always going to want more. Or no, we were texting about this. Like, we talked about when both of us made our first million.
Yeah.
And I want to say this to a lot of people because so many of you, I know you think your life is going to dramatically change when you make six figures. And then when you have your first 6-figure month, it's going to dramatically change. And then when you make your first $1 million, it's going to dramatically change. And you make your first 10 million, it's going to dramatically change. And then whatever, every level. And I just need everyone to understand, stop trying to chase that. Like, go after the actual journey, create the memories, find your joy. I feel like if you chase joy and you chase things you love and you chase experiences and you chase just love, because you mentioned love earlier, like, you don't burn out. And because you're always going to want more. And we were talking back and forth about this, but it's like, I remember when I made my first million and I saw the first time 2 commas were in my bank account before I went and I invested it, and it was like 10 seconds of excitement, no more. I know it sounds so weird, okay? But I just want, you and you agree with me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure people, this is not just a Jessie Lee conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at it and I went, that's so cool. And I screenshot it, and I saw it when I was at the gym. So I screenshot it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I have $1 million in my bank account. That's so cool. And then it was like, all right,
it's time to go.
Next, let's go. Like,
time to empty it up.
And then that's actually another little tip on accident that I just shared with you. Too many of you, especially if you came from nothing, like I came from nothing, it's such a normal habit to try to hold on to it and not create the actual wealth. And so you and I have very similar mentalities on this as well, where now I don't have depleted bank accounts, right? Where I'm not at zero. I know some people say like literally empty it out and then whatever, but I am constantly investing, and that keeps me, just to kind of go back to that conversation, keeps me so hungry. If I have $15 million sitting in a bank account, I might not work as hard. I don't know. Maybe I would. I probably would, because it's me. But like, if I'm constantly deploying it, into different investments and different things and back in the team and into travel and into whatever, then I'm going to constantly have this hunger because I'm moving the money out. And so I hope more people start to do more of that. I don't know if you want to say anything on that. I kind of, got excited for a minute.
Empty it out. I know, like, I think it's subconscious. I've seen people like relax at like $50,000 in their bank, and I'm like, oh yeah, you need to empty that out. Whether it's an investment in your majority of the time, I think, especially anything under $100,000, it's definitely an investment in yourself. Whether it's masterminds, whether it's courses, whether it's a business, whatever, into your business, into yourself. Anything over 100 grand is start looking for other stuff, but get rid of it. Not completely, but get rid of it and just have something that you just in your bank, so you can always keep going.
Would you agree your best investment you ever made was in yourself with your education?
100%.
Yeah. I see this so often. Like, people are so scared, and I was too. Like, the first time I met Eric was on the 6-figure summit, and I remember the ticket was $750, and I thought, this man is literally crazy. Like, there's no way I'm going to get $750 of value out of this thing. Even me saying that, I could just die laughing. Like, and we chatted just yesterday about his mastermind, I guess, is 25,000 or 30,000 or something now a year, whatever it is. And
I have a story for that.
Go. I want to hear it. Talk to me.
I have so the next level mastermind. So that same year that I met you, it was $10,000, right? And then prices went up the next year.
The price went up.
Yeah, prices went up. So I at 10 grand, I definitely could afford it. At 25 grand, I'm pushing it. So at the end of the year, when it was when it was close to GoPro, I had $31,000 in my bank account, literally $31,000, and this is, I was telling my mom, like, okay, well, I'm gonna go put a deposit, like for like a small condo, blah 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 blah, and that's it. Like like my mom was like, okay, yes, this is a good, yes, you should do this and you should do this and it's perfect. And then I watched one of the videos and it was talking about the mastermind, and it said $25,000, and I did the math. $25,000 US is exactly $31,000 Canadian. So I would be left with exactly $500 in my bank account. So I was stressing, I was sweating, stressing, all the emotions coming in, and it was late at night, so my mom was sleeping. So I messaged her, and then I'm like, hey, so what do you think? And she never responded, and I just clicked, tick, and I just got it. So she responded to me the second day. She's like, oh, you were joking, right? I'm like, and then she opened up my bank account, and it was $500, and she sends me a whole voice note yelling, pretty much, what are you doing? This is but that $25,000 has made me millions.
Yeah. I think more people need to hear stuff like that, because people are always asking, how do you get into circles? How do I meet people like this? How do I learn that? How do I do whatever? And you can't, like, Google is not always accurate, my friends. Like the stuff you see is not the same. And I had this mentality. That's why I like to talk about it. I had this mentality that I could learn everything just online. I could learn everything from books. I was like, I don't need to go to these events. That used to be my mentality. I was like, I'm not going to events. I'm not going to spend money on a hotel, on a flight, on food, on tickets. Like my second event of Eric's, FYI, like, I don't know if you know this, my second event was Beyond Leadership.
Yeah.
And that ticket for 3 days was $10,000. And I was like, this man is literally like not sane. Like he is mentally unwell. I was sure. I'm like, and I was like all excited. Like I had to justify in my head, because again, like no income claims or whatever. I know I'm not normal. You're not normal. We've established that in this conversation. But like I had taken that $750 for the quick little 6-figure summit or whatever, and I was making $33,000 a month. Then 9 months later, I came back for the Beyond Leadership that he was charging this arm, leg, other random, probably a kidney, like lots of body parts, man, to go to this freaking Beyond Leadership. He's charging $10,000 for 3 days, like not even full days, because Eric is like sleepy, so he shows up at 11. Like 11 to 5. It's like Eric Worry time. And I'm like, I'm not what? But it was 9 months later, and I went from $33,000 a month to $206,000.
Wow.
And so I had to think to myself, what made that difference? What made that leap from $33,000 a month to $200,000 at the time? This is 2017. And I'm like, well, duh. It was all the education. Actually, I've never said this on a, can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
It's like not that exciting, but I think it's exciting. Okay. Do you see this? Like all this stuff, like these faces on my wall? So you know what these are. These are are the car earners.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone on my wall here, there's 147 of these people. They all have businesses that are $50,000 a month or more that I get to mentor. So this idea, I've been doing this for years now, but this came from my first event ever with Eric.
Wow. Somebody
stood up and said, I print out photos of my leaders and I put them on my wall for motivation. And I went, see, I can relate to that, because I'm so, I cry every day, but like, I'm so emotional. Don't laugh at me. Stop that. I'm so emotional. I'm a feeler. And I knew that if I would look at their faces, I would do more. Mm-hmm. And so like little stuff like that, like boom, boom,
That's
boom.
Cool.
And now like, now I spend $100,000 on masterminds, $30,000 on masterminds, whatever. And I think anybody who complains about the cost of anything, it's because you don't value yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I knew if I could learn from people. I mean, it's like, okay, I got a Picasso story. You know that TikTok.
Yeah.
Let's say the TikTok. Do it.
What the okay, I like it, Picasso?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. All right. So the Picasso story. Do you know this? The Picasso, you probably do. So there's a story where Picasso is like on the side of a bridge and he's painting. And some lady walks by and goes, "Oh my gosh, you're Picasso." He goes, "Yeah." And she says, "Can you paint me?" And he says, "Yeah, sure." And it takes him 30 seconds. And he paints her this, or I guess maybe it's like 15 minutes or something. It takes like 15 minutes. And he's painting her, this Picasso. He's painting her. And he goes to hand her the painting of her. And she goes, and he says, "Okay, that'll be $30,000. And this is $30,000 back in Picasso days. And she goes, "What? That took you 15 minutes. And he said, "No, see, I don't think you understand. That took my entire life."
Mm.
And so when people don't want to pay for education,
Yeah.
I don't think you're understanding the value that somebody who has made, maybe it's billions of dollars,
Yeah.
you get access to. Maybe it's
I agree.
hundreds of millions. Maybe they're the world's biggest philanthropist and they're going to teach you how to do the same. Like, what would it be worth for you to spend time with Mother Teresa, if she were alive? What would you pay for that? What's the value there? And so I think too many people don't actually value the knowledge that goes into being world class at something.
Mhm.
And so I always
I like
think
that
about that story when people are like, "Your chart, that's manipulation." I'm like, I would pay every dime in my bank account to get access to the best in the world, because I know that and you must have this perspective, I'm guessing, but
100%.
for me, you could take the entire empire and I have all of the knowledge to rebuild it. Like, you can't take what's in my mind.
It's true.
I know it is. Okay, so it's good. That's good stuff. All right, so I have a question about. I want to know: do you ever feel imposter syndrome? Do you ever feel like you're not good enough? Where are Rakan's insecurities? I'm curious.
Do you ever feel like you're not good enough?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always thinking that I can be better. Never not good enough. I used to have that I was. This is probably one of the most things that held me back, I think, majority of my life on. I was really good at what I did, especially in soccer. I was really good. Like, I was very special in what I did. I was short and I was a goalkeeper. Right? I'm not short really, but compared to a goalkeeper, I'm like a midget. But like, I had this ability to jump very high, and because I've heard it from a lot of people, it boosted my confidence. And then I went into Muay Thai training, which is fighting, and I was a talented fighter. Right, I fought and I was strategic fighting. I'm not a kid that would just fight, hit. I'm just very strategic with my fighting. So I just feel like, but when I was younger, I truly believe, especially when I left sports, I've always had, yes, maybe I'm not good enough for this. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe this is, I can't be. So one of the things that when I was around good, better people than me, was like, I don't know if I should be in this room. And this is something I had to really internally work on. And I speak to myself a lot. Like, I have a journal that let me show you guys, that I write on. And it's a cool journal where I write down, like, there's 3 major things that I write down. And this is where, I wish I have the ability to bring my 2017 book. Oh,
You have it? Yes, show us.
Okay. Oh, this
My
is
2017. I have journal. I journal.
This is 2017.
My 2017 is not good.
You must be the change you must be the change you wish to see in the world, Gandhi. So I've had a lot of things here. One of my biggest things is Iqra. The first word that came down to the Quran is Iqra. Read. Like, that's the first word that ever got came down to thing. And then a lot of things I've always, and then I wrote down quotes that I've always heard. And this is before network marketing, by the way. I wrote down, I changed lives before network marketing. Like, I kid you, I can't make this up. As you think you shall be. Yeah, like I today a reader, tomorrow a leader. I've read these things. I wrote down these things way before. I've had in the end. This is, I think, the most important things. I've had affirmations like that I read every single day. But I had this is one of my biggest things, where this is a message to myself. Now, it's gonna be hard for me to say this on here because it's maybe a little bit too private. But I spoke too good to myself. Like if anything bad happened into my life, I'm going down on a pen and paper and I'm speaking good to myself. I'm just instilling belief back into myself. And one of the first parts, I just want to say that you are very. That's how I started. I just wanted to say this is May 1st, 2017. I just wanted to say you are very special. You are gifted and you have greatness in you. I know you work hard and I know you are working day in and day out, facing defeat over and over again, never giving up and trying so hard not to lose. Sell yourself every day because you are destined to do what nobody has done before. Always focus on you and don't give up on yourself because God makes no mistakes. He created you to invest in yourself, invest in your mind, and that's the only tool, my English, God damn it, that will get you to where you want to be. Be close to him. He gave you a blessing that you should never let go of. He wants you to be so successful that you can lead other people and change their lives. I believe you deserve it. You are where you are because your determination and work ethic. Keep pushing, champ, and God bless you. Always remember, no guts, no glory, no risk, no story. That's how I spoke to me. I'm just saying, man, I'll be nice to myself. And this is before all the mindset calls and before everything. Anything that tragic ever happened in my life, I just turned into God in a book. And that was enough for me.
So powerful. I think sometimes people don't understand that. I love that I don't know where you had the idea to even do that, because I think the average person that's probably listening to this does the exact opposite. Like they speak to themselves so terribly.
Yeah.
So terribly. Like if somebody walked in their house and spoke to them the way that they speak to themselves, they would shoot them.
It's true.
And yet in your own mind, it's you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not fast enough. You're never going to make it. Nobody likes you. You're not charismatic enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not this. You're not that. And I saw it at the top of the page. It says, "Hey, champ." I love that. Like, yeah.
Champ.
I love it. It's so sweet. I love that. Oh, my heart's gonna explode. Ah. So I do love that though, because if I could guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you probably were writing those things to yourself, and it's not actually how you felt, but you were like, this has to become my reality.
Definitely not what I felt. Absolutely not. I just wanted to enforce it into my brain.
Yeah, because you can trick your brain. Right.
Sure.
I don't think people know this. Your brain only has so much room for the capacity. So if you're constantly thinking positively, positive, it doesn't have room for negative. Yeah. Like you can actually lie to yourself into greatness. It's just, it works. And I love that you had the sense of mind to do that in 2017 when stuff was just not good. Just not good.
I started network marketing 2017.
Yeah, but you weren't in it yet, right? Didn't you say you?
No, I wasn't, but I started network marketing in 2017, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when I started, just because that's when, anyway, you already know. So, okay. So can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
I know we started late because.
Let's do this.
Okay. Are you enjoying this conversation?
I'm loving it.
Okay, great. So you said something about who you were saying, stepping into who you want to be. I want to know actually, can I ask you, I'm asking you two questions.
Sure.
Number one, what is something that you are currently not great at that you want to get better at?
Not great at, but you want to get better at. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, now receiving calls. No, I'm just joking. I believe I'm not great at. I don't even know. I'm great at everything. No, I'm just joking. I would listen. For me, leadership is a never-ending cycle. I would love to always be. I believe I'm a great leader, but I can be a better leader. I don't know what's after great. But whatever that is, I want to be more of that. Social media mainly, definitely trying as much as I can to be very creative with my content. Oh, you know what? Yes, I actually have something. I truly believe I'm better than English than I am in Arabic, and I would love to be better in Arabic. Although my first tongue is Arabic, but I've done network marketing so long in English that I got used to English, and I would love to transfer the same amount of power in Arabic. And I'm currently the youngest Arab in the world, but I want to be number one, younger or not younger. So that's definitely something I need to work on. In Arabic content and education and content, training and content, training like in Arabic language. So that's what's something that I think I'm good at. I'm just not the greatest.
I love it. And then, so my final question.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that.
All right.
I liked stumping you. That was good. I could watch your brain. Like I said, you said something along the lines of stepping into who you want to be. My question would be, who does Rakan Khalifa want to be?
I believe Rakan Khalifa. You see, I've got this question multiple times, and every time I answer it in a different way. And I was always looking to have a straight answer. But I feel like the more I grow, the more that I see things, the more I want to become things. And the concept of be, do, have is what changed my life. Be who you want to be. You're gonna have what they have. You're gonna do what they do, and you're gonna have what they have. As Rakan, at this point, he's very focused on, of course, my personal brand and my organization's brand. We since we're in the trading world, I definitely want to be one of the number one brands when it comes to that specific niche. And for me to do that is going to require a lot of more leadership skills, a lot of more influence skills, a lot of more public speaking skills in different languages. And I have to let time play its role as well. A lot of people, they have, they're trying to rush a lot of the process. But I've always loved the saying from Gary Vee, which is, micro speed, micro patience.
Yeah.
So, as far as who Rakan wants to be, it's just it keeps evolving. I've always wanted to be number one in the world for network marketing. Then it kind of changed to just being an entrepreneur in general. But if I'm launching a company, or I'm launching a system, or I'm launching a restaurant, or I'm doing anything, that needs to be the best. And I've always just thought that, how can I enhance? How can I grow? How can I get this bigger? How can I, I went to on a Friday night, I went to my restaurant and I was looking, and I'm not too involved in the operations because I trust the partners that I have. And I was looking, and I just had ideas. This is how we can be better. And I truly believe, I think one of my gifts is I can look at something, and no matter what it is, and I can always look and, hey, we can improve this, or we can do this, and I look at certain things from a different perspective than a lot of people that I know, and it's just improvement, and it's never ending. You can always do better.
I agree. I love it. So I love you. I appreciate you for sharing with everybody today. I think it's super powerful. And
thank you for allowing me to speak on your stage, Jessie.
Yeah. Twice now in a week.
Twice.
Oh my God.
Damn.
It's ridiculous. Well,
thank you. Getting too much. Getting out of hand.
Oh, whatever. Thank you for letting me speak on your stages as well.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I hope everybody learned a thing or two from today.
I think they probably did.
I think they did too.
I appreciate you setting the pace up there in Canada for the men. And number one, you have stiff competition. So there's that. But anyway, no, you're incredible. And I hope that more people are able to follow you and gain some wisdom from you. Speaking of, where can people follow you? I know everyone can follow me here, obviously, I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I don't think I'm streaming on TikTok right now, actually.
Instagram is the main way, I guess. It's Bank of Khalifa. No hashtags, no screenshot, no that, whatever. I have 1 billion fake pages of me.
Yeah.
I'll never ask you for money, just in case. But at Bank of Khalifa, and then I'm working more on my YouTube. It's Rakan Khalifa, and we're rocking and rolling.
Love it. Well, love you. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you for being a legend in our industry, Jessie Lee. And we'll talk soon.
Sounds perfect. Bye, guys. Ciao.